Annyeonghaseyo yung lahat, you're here with me, Alex Corner, and welcome to the Trading Comedy where anything is an opportunity if you know where to look. And welcome to this pre-recorded video, this webinar about forecasting. So, yan, dami kong time. And shout out to all the people watching all around the world. I'll try my best to speak in straight English as possible, but most probably hindi ko kakayanin, so magta-Taglish pa rin ako. Anyway, we're going to discuss my lazy approach to forecasting with just using Fibonacci. Hindi ko lang nilagay sa title kasi tinamad na ako. The irony of the title. But anyway, let's get started. So, following disclaimer, this will not guarantee that you will profit, yada yada, just read the slide. Okay, the only competition in this game is you. There's no such thing as a perfect trading system. You get the idea. So, yeah, with that said, let's get started. So, here's an overview. We're going to quickly discuss, not really discuss, we're gonna show you what an Elliott wave pattern looks like. So, basic lang tayo, guys. Wala masyadong complex shit, no, because I wanted this to make it simpler for you guys. And we're going to look at my lazy Elliott retracement, and we're going to discuss also how to plot lazy forecasts. So we're not going to discuss trade setups yet. Probably reserve it for another video. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do hit subscribe. So yun. And we're gonna also discuss how to spot levels using a trade template that I recently discovered, and some rules on time frame switching. So there, let's move on. So yeah, this is a basic Elliott wave pattern. I got this picture from Baby Pips. So yan, ito lang siya. You just have to memorize what this looks like. And these little waves over here are called subwaves. But we're not really going to ano ba? How will I explain? Hindi natin masyado tong tututukan because we're more focused on these ones in bold. Okay? So yeah, yan lang yung focus natin for the most of this presentation. But probably after this, you would get the idea on how to actually plot and count waves for yourselves. So anyway, let's proceed. This is the cheat sheet that I used pala before I started using my own retracement. So if you look at the cheat sheet at one glance, especially pag noobs kayo, parang overwhelming na yung information. Like, hindi siya magagets talaga at first glance. So, yeah, you can look at this for a couple of seconds, and now, kung nawindang na kayo, let's just go to the next slide. Baka hindi na ako panoorin. So, from this cheat sheet that I found on the internet, I came up with my own interpretation of an Elliott wave using just one retracement, and here it is. This is the lazy Elliott retracement. So it has two parts. We have an impulse and a corrective, if you remembered what the slide looked like sa mga previous slides. So these are the numbers to your left for the impulse. So ganito lang siya, 1, 2 is any of these, probably get it, it's kind of self-explanatory. 3 is this one. Okay, so in the next slide I will show you the variations of these, but this is how you interpret the wave, even with not, drawing the wave. Yun din yung purpose ng color coding dito, guys, just so you know. And for the corrective wave, yeah, it's easy, A, B, C, ganyan lang siya. And this highlighted box area, it could be any of these levels. That's just what it's trying to say. Same with the impulse. 3 could be any of these. So yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory. So next slide, we're gonna show you how to set this up. You just use this. Open your trading view or Investagrams if you're trading in the Philippines. So just open up the Fib retracement and then put these levels. And I organized the levels in such a way na madali niya siya ma-memorize with the perspective color coding. So kung yung nakahilera dito, this is probably the movement of the waves for the next, retracements and stuff. Ganyan. So yeah, I made it such a way na madali niya siya ma-memorize. And if we're gonna look for the next slide after this one, so you can pause the video if you want to look at this for a bit, even though I have this on my WordPress for those who actually read it. So anyway, we're done here. Next tayo. So these are the lazy impulse wave variations. So tabi ko muna sarili ko. Let me switch here. Ayan, para makita nyo. So these are the usual waves that you will see in your forecasting journey. So most of the time you will see these 3 waves. Sobrang rare tong pang-apat. This rarely happens. Okay. So, wag kayo masyadong ma-hype pag nakakita kayo ng ganito. If ever nag-backtest kayo, may nakita kayo yung ganito, because it does not happen often. Okay, just focus on these 3 because ito yung madalas nyo makikita sa forecasting journey nyo. So yeah, I kind of summarized it with the levels that it would probably hit. So same thing with, it's the same thing with the corrective wave. Yan. You would actually focus more on 2 of these. These 2 will be the most things that you will see in a corrective wave. Pero pag nakakita kayo ng ganito in the last 2, if you see these kinds of wave formations, you could actually just count a reverse impulse. So just add 4 or 5 if ever you change your bias to an impulse. Okay. Same with this one. Pwede niyong gawin ganyan. Okay. Let me do that again. Ayan. Something like this. So you could treat this like as a reverse impulse. If you find out that during your forecasting journey nakita nyo na biglang ay bumaba pa pala, it's not really a corrective wave. So shit happens, it can happen. Okay. Thought I just bring that up. So next naman tayo. So as lazy Elliottians, we are only concerned in which levels the price will hit. So you notice in the presentation I did not really discuss more about the subwaves. I focused more on the major ones because in reality, you're just gonna count in 3s and 5s throughout your forecasting journey. That's why I didn't include na masyado the advanced setups. So I leave it to your research if you want to continue studying about Elliott wave. Ganon. So plotting lazy forecast, nandito na tayo. So for the impulse, you just need to follow this diagram. So find the Nashung wave 1, draw from top to bottom. If the price hits projected wave 2, it is a valid lazy plot. Okay? And these figure would eventually lead to this. Kaya ganyan yung drawing. So again, we're not gonna discuss trade setups. I will leave it to you to discover or binge watch some of my YouTube videos. I kinda gave hints on some of the trades that I did for the PSE. Ayun. So next naman tayo. For corrective. So personally, I don't use corrective plots, mostly impulses. I will show you why. Okay. But for corrective, this is what you would usually do if you want to try and speculate a correction. Find Dashung wave 4 to 5, which is this one, or wave 5 to wave A. But for me, I would recommend using the second one because it's less prone to error, at least in my opinion. Kasi pag ito yung una yung ginawa, unless you're gonna do a shorting setup, yeah, I wouldn't rely much on this. But pwede nyo pa rin gamitin. So yun lang. Ito kasi mas may accuracy, mas clear kung ano yung magiging wave B if ever. Compared to this, you won't know where A is. Probably this. Huhulaan nyo kung saan dito sa blue levels na to. But anyway, hope that's clear. Let's go for the next one. So spotting levels. So this was my recent discovery sa sarili ko na I'm more comfortable with using lines rather than candlesticks. So these are the 2 views that you can use. Candles plus Donchan channels. Hindi ko na in-update yung figure ng Donchan channels, but it kinda looks like this. Hindi siya Bollinger Band. So you can probably watch my previous videos on how I did this. So you just find it in my YouTube channel, or I paste a YouTube card somewhere in this video. And ayan. But what we're going to discuss is this new discovery that I came up with just by using a line chart and parabolic SAR. So probably you guys, yung mga dating gumagamit ng candlestick, Hope ma-convert ko kayo. Pero seryoso guys, mas madali yung lines. After this presentation, probably marirealize nyo. So, next na tayo. Let's go to the next slide. So, going back, moving averages. So, I now treat this as a trend filter, nothing else. Okay? So kung dati, nung panahon na nag-aaral ako ng mga moving average, you guys know that. Ito, 20, ano yan? 20, 50, 100. Yung nagpauso ng AOTS and the Zoo Strike. You know who I'm talking about. Shout out sa local traders natin dito sa Pilipinas. You don't actually need it. Actually, na-realize ko nagdagdag ingay lang yan sa thinking strategy ko. So, naging noise lang siya sa akin. Kaya din naka-highlight tong dalawang indicators na to because this is what I usually use na. I don't really use this as often. Okay? Hindi ko na to ginagamit. Pero pwede na tong gamitin kung ayaw na ng parabolics are. But because it's cleaner to actually use this, I use this. Okay? So it's also good to note that if you want to plot accurate Fibonacci forecast, you need to make sure you're clear on what trade setup you're planning to execute. Whether it be a swing, a breakout, a bounce, okay? Or simple trend following. This is probably the time where you will use this. But yeah, I'm not really a trend follower, so whatever fits your boat, use it. And at least for me, 1 MA is already enough because less is more. Because you don't want your mind to end up like this. Next slide, no? Wag sana maging tulad ng Gilmore yung utak nyo na ang dami-dami yung indicators at kung ano-ano sinisigaw sa'yo na ayan, bili ka dyan, benta ka dyan, hindi, hold mo yan, divergence yan, putang yan, ang dami yung nilalagay na kung ano-ano na hindi naman talaga kailangan. Ayun. So next na tayo. So time frame switching. Originally, I was thinking to maximize it to 4, but for this presentation, I decided to just limit it to 3. Okay? If you're long-term investor, short to long, I mean medium to long-term, you would probably look at these time frames. This is ideal for position, I guess, and probably swing, a long-term swing. But in our current market condition today, because COVID and market crashing, all that stuff, it's more advisable to look at these time frames, okay, short term. And if you're a forex trader, you could use this for scalping and swing trading for a short term period, okay. And cannot stress this enough, you should avoid looking at larger time frames, especially in a bear market, okay. Lalo na sa mga traders natin sa PSE dyan, huwag kayong ma-hype-hype sa daily, ha? Ingat-ingat muna sa pagtingin doon. Okay? And etong naka-red, this is more on macro analysis. So if you're looking from a long-term perspective, kunwari investor kayo or financial advisor and you want to advise your clients, you probably use long-term, like 1 month and above. So, pero tingin ko okay na yung 1 month to determine what the market movement is for the long term. On the other hand, kung trader kayo, like actively trading, you could use this short term. Yeah, you can use a short term time frame. And if our market is kind of sideways, you can use a mixture of these. Pwede nang gamitin to. Okay. You can also use these combinations of time frames. Okay, bakit din 3 yung iniisip ko instead of 4 when time frame switching? This is actually to avoid tiebreakers then. So let's say you were looking at a short-term time frame. Ito, you were following this. And let's say sa 5-minute nakita mo bullish. And then sa 15-minute bearish. And then sa 1 hour bullish. So, gets nyo? It avoids tiebreakers. So, kunwari nakita nyo 2:1, magiging bullish bias nyo, parang ganun. And the opposite, kung dalawa yung bearish at isa yung bullish, then you'll go with bearish. So, it kind of helps you to trade clearly pa. More clear. I don't know if that made sense. Clearer pala. Okay. So, it's also important to read news then to regulate your sentiment bias, okay? Just don't rely masyado sa technicals lang. You should know what's going on in the news kahit papano. Okay? You don't need a finance degree to understand the news. Just simple news sources like siguro sa Pilipinas, Philippine Star, Inquirer, I don't know, Rappler, but I don't know. Or if you're trading world markets, read CNBC, Bloomberg. Pero may bayad yung Bloomberg. So I mostly look at CNBC or BBC for European markets. Anyway, so we have here's the continuation of our time frame stitching. So, bakit din ako may SAR? I use it for filtering, and it will also determine what kind of retracement I should draw. Okay, so on the next slides we're gonna explain each of these, starting with this one. So if MA SAR is in resistance, lower time frames, you look for the next support. So let's say in the 1 hour, ito yung MA. Let's say this is the MA. And this is the price. Nakita nyo na untog dito. Okay, let's say this is the 1 hour. So ibig sabihin yan resistance. So assume natin naglaro dyan yung price, hindi yan mabasag. So what you would usually do, you look for next support. So let's say 15-minute. You were looking at a 15-minute time frame. And then ito yung MA niya. And parang mas nakita mo in detail. You saw more in detail what the movement really was. And then you would find next support. Usually the pivot points would give you support. So this one or this one. So this is just an example. This is for the first item. Okay. So on the other hand, if we're gonna go for the second item, which is this one, let me erase this para hindi kayo malito. Pag dito naman, let's say MA SAR is support. Okay, let's go back here, 15-minute. Let's say this is the MA. This is an MA 200. Nakita nyo, nag-breakout. And then you kind of notice, oops, it's supporting somewhere here. So yung one of the lazy ways to do it is you could actually switch to the next time frame. So, mention 15 minutes. Dito tayo sa 1 hour. And let's say the view of the 1 hour, ito yung view ng 1 hour. Let's say ito yung movement ng 15 minute. Yan yung present movement niya, and you observe na meron pala siyang additional upside for the 1 hour. So you could approach it this way as well. Okay? I hope that's clear. Well, magpapakita rin naman ako sa inyo yung charts. It's gonna be clearer as we go along. And yeah, this one's self-explanatory. If the price is above MA or SAR, just plot an uptrend retracement. And if the price is below the MA or SAR, you plot a downtrend retracement. So the SAR here is mostly used for short-term to medium play. Kaya sinama ko to. Okay? And look for oscillator divergences if needed. So in my case, I use RSI most of the time. But you guys can use other oscillators such as stochastics and probably MACD. Ayun. So there. Let's go to the next slide. Transfer myself to the left side of the screen. There you go. So here's an example. This is Ayala Land. We're actually looking at a 15-minute time frame. So if we're gonna follow the first item here, MA SAR is at resistance, if you remember the slide. So ito yon. And the SAR is signaling downtrend, so your bias would be looking for the support. So some of you might already figure out na ito na yung support, itong binibigay na line. Okay? But if we're gonna follow the time frame switch, so since this is the 15-minute, we're gonna switch to the 5, and we're going to see what actually happens. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So we see something like this, and we opened our RSI. So, if I want to draw a retracement, I would usually look for the highest recent high without moving the chart. Okay, let's say this is what you saw. And then the lowest, the pivot low that I could possibly find, okay, which is this one. So, I'm going to draw a retracement from bottom to top. So, parang ganyan yung gagawin niya. And then, aside from that, the last item dun sa slide about looking for oscillator divergences. So, this is one example. This is a bearish divergence. Yan. And from there, you could probably create a trade plan. Probably say catch here at this level, around 28-ish pesos. And if we're going to look at the next slide for the result, it would be something like this. Okay? So probably pwede yung bilang nyo dito sa Elliott wave. It's 1, 2, I don't know, maybe this is 3, 4, 5. You could count it that way. And then this is the drawn retracement that I mentioned. If you drew from bottom to top, okay? And this is the A and B. So you observe here that the price was resisting at this level a couple of times. And the price is below the MA as shown in the previous slide. Okay? Dami ko lang drawing kaya hindi nakita. And this is probably the projected wave C. Okay? Hope that's clear. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, this is another perspective if you don't want to switch, and this is also the same reason why I just use an impulse retracement instead of this one. Okay, so going back, this is the 15, diba? This is the 15, and let's say, yeah, you just wanted to draw a retracement from this area to this area, so the result would look something like this. There, it would look something like this. So, see the explanations here. Respecting resistance at MA 200. This is assuming that this would be your trade plan, and you will just wait for confirmation of bounce in any of these areas. Although, if you're gonna ask me, this is probably the best idea to create a trade plan for a bounce, because the price already created like a pivot support over here. So there. Let's go to the next one. Hope that's clear. Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Next, yan, medyo Tagalog to, no? But for the international audience, no, I'm just gonna try to translate this. So this is a chart of Frutas Holdings in the PSE. So we're gonna do a bottom-up approach. So we're gonna start with the lower time frame. So this is a 5-minute chart. Okay, and what do we observe? It broke out. The price here broke out MA 200. We see that it's kind of high already. If you're gonna trade this, I won't trade this yet. I would wait for a pullback somewhere here, diba? And we would guess where the next resistance would be. It's actually here. Hindi ko lang sinabi sa slide na to. But if we're going to follow the time frame switching, if you want to know where the next resistance is going to be, we're going to switch from 5-minute to 15-minute. Okay, so let's erase this and let's go to the next slide. Let's see where the resistance actually is in the 15-minute time frame. There. So it's actually kind of close to here. So we didn't even need to switch. But anyway, ito yung nakita natin for the 15-minute time frame. And we saw it clearly that it resisted, okay? It resisted a MA 200. It was a false breakout. This area was a false breakout. So it went back down here. And moving the chart further, we could see, oh, it actually created a support, okay? So it went down here for a while. It was bearish for a while, but it found support here, okay? So if you guys are going to wonder where the next resistance is going to be aside from this level over here, itong pinakita ng line, you will be shocked sa next slide. It only takes one time frame switch to actually figure out where it is. So it's actually here. Ayan. So it's actually at 1.40-ish. So ang layo, di ba? So this is the level, and this is the reference for the 15-minute resistance and the MA200 support. So you would know. So you could probably take profits here. Let's say you wanted to do either a bounce trade here, or a breakout trade over here, and then do a swing trade, sell here. Or if you could hold a bit longer despite the bearish sentiment of the entire globe, you could probably try and take profits until here, if it holds. If this whatever company this is has good news about earnings and stuff. Yeah, those are just some examples. Okay. And next one. This is actually another interpretation for Frutas. Let's say you were looking at just the hourly chart and you wanted to figure out the entire Elliott move. So usually what I do before figuring out this part, I try to count what the previous wave is. Okay, so this is one example. This is actually one way of counting it. If you're going to look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you also notice that it kind of hit dun sa color coding levels natin. If you actually see the magic of this fucking retracement, it's crazy. I know it's crazy. Ayan, so that's probably the levels. And then you'd probably count ABC from here. But I know some of you guys will attest to this, and you would count this left wave over here as an ABC. Well, that's why alternate counts exist, guys. You can actually recount. Wala naman tama or mali. What matters is how you execute your trade, regardless on how you count the Elliott. Okay? The lazy with the risk. So here's the next one. Here's the alternate count, and you'll be surprised. See? ABC. You could count it like this as well. Okay, if you remembered our código, no? We had a código dun sa lazy Elliott retracement natin. So this is the corrective, the deep correction. Okay? As you can see here dito sa note ko rin, we see that SAR here actually acts as an alternative candle lower wick. So this is also the same reason why I stick to this template, because bukod sa mas malinis siya, it's less noise. You get to focus on execution. Okay? If you don't want to believe me na ito ay isang alternative lower wick, we could see what the candlestick view looks like, and you'll be surprised. Pook! Ayan, kita nyo? Ayan, oh. Kita nyo yun? It's sakto, Brad. Ayan, oh. Oh, shit, oh. Magic! And no more worrying about these wicks, whatever this noise is, hoping na, oh, it's gonna go up, but in reality, it kept going down, diba? And yeah, this is the alt count. And this is probably the next count, the realistic impulse count. So there, I hope you guys got entertained with our discussion for this webinar. Hope you learned something. So to cap off this presentation, I will leave you with a quote. So I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. And apparently, it's not Bill Gates who said this famous quote. You can Google it if you want, kasi tinatamad na akong i-Google. And thank you guys for watching, kasi tinamad rin ako ilagay sa next slide. And I hope this video helps. If you think this video will be a help to other people, at sa mga kapang tamad dyan mag-aral, you could probably share this as well. And I hope it's worth your time. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Hit the subscribe and hit the bell, especially if you want to watch out for my next videos about trade setups using the retracement. But most probably you guys already have an idea on how to trade using this forecasting technique that I shared with you guys. So again, this has been Alex Corner signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night and good day in whatever part of the country you're in. Hope this video helps. Arigato kamsahamnida.